Welcome to the Women in Industry podcast. My name is Kirsty Davies-Chinnock, and today I'm joined by Beth Bevan. Beth is a senior repair engineer at Siemens Energy, and Siemens Energy support companies and countries to reduce emissions across the energy landscape for a more reliable, affordable and sustainable energy system. So thank you for joining us, Bev. It's lovely to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
We met briefly walking past each other at the Innovate UK and Institute for Manufacturing from Cambridge University Changing Perceptions conference last year. And we met because we both got really funky hairstyles.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I was admiring your lovely red hair.
I've just coloured it, so it's not too bad at the moment. Occasionally I go a bit patchwork. So
and I feel your pain.
It happens to a woman of my age, I'm afraid. So you started off with a career at college, and you did a HNC in metals technology.
I did.
Why did you choose to go into metallurgy? I fell into metallurgy, which seems to be the general career path.
So I left school at 16. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I didn't want a traditional kind of girl's job or a desk job. So I had trained to be a car mechanic actually for the first year of leaving school, and it was a difficult time for me because not long after I started college, my mum died. So it was a bit of a kind of, unsettled time. But I decided that after a year at college, I'd rather earn some money. Had no idea what I wanted to do, so I went to the careers office and filled in one of those computer programs that spit out, your likes, dislikes, and lab technician came up. So I went to a training provider, and back in the 90s, it was a youth training scheme. So I went for a number of interviews for a lab technician, and one of those happened to be as a mechanical testing trainee in a forging company, which I had no idea what a forging company was. I had no idea what mechanical testing was. And I certainly didn't know what metallurgist was, let alone even be able to spell it. So, that was how it started, really. And I was their first female sort of technical trainee that they'd ever had. They interviewed me twice because they thought I was a bit giggly the first time. I think that's probably nerves, actually, but, back in the day. That's how I sort of just fell into it, really. And I just loved it as soon as I started doing it. I've always loved science, so I guess that's the basis for
it. The metal sector itself has such a wide variety of roles, whether commercial or technical or practical, across so many sectors. Every sector in the UK includes metal at some point. Yeah. You can't have a sandwich that the food hasn't been made in a plant filled with polished stainless steel, contact professional polishing for more. But your career has been a fascinating mix of the technical and the theoretical. While I was sort of going through stalking your experience on LinkedIn. Yeah. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer the technical and the practical?
Yeah. 100%. I'm a practical, hands-on, get me on the shop floor type person. I'd much rather see the product, in real life. I'm not academic. I've never considered myself to be academic. So, I did the ONC and HNC and enjoyed doing that. And then I started a part-time bachelor at Sheffield, and then a colleague said to me, did you know that if you've got 5 years industrial experience, you could actually do a master's based upon industrial experience? And I said, no, I didn't know that. So I then swapped to an integrated graduate development course between the two Sheffield universities at the time, and started doing like an aerospace manufacturing and technical management masters. But unfortunately, they cancelled the course halfway through. So I kind of ended up doing 6 modules and that was it. I didn't kind of get anything for it. And at that point, after 10 years of additional study, I'd kind of lost the will to live really with extra study. So I carried on. It hadn't affected my career at that point. I was working at Rolls-Royce, and I was fine with where I was career-wise. But when I joined Siemens, I joined as a contractor initially, and then a principal metallurgist. And in order to get up to the next level, which was lead, they wanted you to have a degree. So they said, a higher degree would be good. And at the time, they do quite a lot of research and development work with Cranfield University. So that's what led me to do the part-time masters. And it was my nemesis. I struggled with it. I absolutely loved the modules. They were fantastic. They got people from industry coming in, and it was really relevant stuff. But I hated the academic work, writing. I find it really difficult. I'd get into my flow and then think, oh no, I need a citation for that, and I found it really tough. It was probably the most challenging thing I've ever done. Yeah. But I did it.
You did it. You got the qualification, you got the promotion. Are you going to go back and do anything else, or have you
absolutely
thrown
not.
your textbooks out the window?
No, absolutely not. It was a massive challenge. It took me 4 years. I had to take a year out to have my daughter. I graduated when I was 40. And I remember standing there with my hat on thinking, I can't believe I've actually done this, because I never thought that I would get there, but I did. But no, that was enough for me. I'm happy with kind of regular training and things, but I don't think I'd ever take on another master's. Yeah, but never say never.
You did it in the correct time frame. A part-time master should take 3 years. You had a year out, so you still did it in 3 years.
Oh, so it was difficult. Yeah,
it's I got to one stage when I was doing mine, and I remember throwing a textbook across the room.
yeah. I spent lots of difficult weekends writing my thesis, and my husband was he used to call himself the thesis widow.
Yes,
because every weekend I was just locked away. But it's it taught me a lot, I guess, and perseverance being one of it. So.
It would also have taught you, or reinforced, I suppose, that particularly now in a lead role, that people learn differently.
Yeah.
I am, despite throwing them against the wall occasionally, sorry, Asa Briggs, I do learn from books. I mean, I scribble all over them. I argue with them, sometimes quite vocally. But that's how I learn. I like to have a good theoretical knowledge before I then go and do the practical. Whereas other people need to do the practical, and that's how they develop their own internal theoretical knowledge. It's not theoretical.
I guess I'm a bit of both, really, but I like to kind of read about it and then put it into practice to reinforce it. So but I'm always sort of prefer the practical side of life.
So we mentioned that you were going for a lead role at Siemens. So, and you're just starting a secondment role as an A20 service engineering team leader.
Yes.
So what's an A20?
So an A20 is a Siemens Energy aeroderivative gas turbine. So in the old aero speak, it would be an Avon engine, so the old Avon engine. But the Siemens Energy, we have our own naming convention of our gas turbines now. So it's an SGT A20. So that's the kind of new name for the aeroderivative Avon. Yeah.
And where are they used? What type of servicing do they need? You can tell that
it's
I know
old
nothing
technology.
about engines.
Yeah, I mean, they were designed, back in the 1950s. So they're a kind of workhorse, but we offer upgrades. We offer, different modifications now to those engines that are in service. And it's an industrial gas turbine. So they're used for, power generation, oil and gas, and they're aeroderivative. So they're kind of light and can be used, in places where weight consideration is maybe needed to be taken into account. So but yeah, they're a kind of workhorse gas turbine that a lot of people who are in that industry are familiar with. Yeah.
But it's interesting the fact that even though the initial design was 70 odd years ago, that it's still relevant, but also it can be upgraded with the, as you mentioned, you know, they can be upgraded, they can do different things. And surely in a time of when we're looking at sustainability and repurpose and reuse, they're not, you know, they're not just being sort of picked up and thrown away.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people think that, you know, they think of a gas turbine and they think of fossil fuels. So part of, you know, what we do in Siemens Energy is to look at, you know, new you know, sustainable methods of fuel and all the rest of it. So we have actually just completed our first methanol trial with an Avon, actually, in conjunction with one of our overhaul facilities. So yeah, we're looking at, you know, new types of you know, green energy to fuel these engines going forward. So hydrogen, methanol. Yeah, we're looking into that because, you know, that's got to be the future.
And that's really exciting to be involved in the R&D and the trials and everything. That's going to be a life-changing changing application, isn't it, for going forward?
Yeah, it is. So I'm really excited to join the engineering team. I mean, predominantly our role is the materials and manufacturing side. So it's ensuring, you know, continuity, supply and that kind of thing. But yeah, hopefully I'll get a chance to look at that side of it as well. So yeah, it's good.
And I believe this is going to be your first major leadership role. What are you excited about learning in the new role?
Yeah, it is really. I've had smaller roles in the past, but not within Siemens Energy. I'm really excited because, you know, it's working with manufacturing and materials. So that's like, you know, I've got nearly 30 years of experience with that now. So I'm comfortable with the kind of technical side of it, but I'm looking forward to developing the leadership side. So it's a really great team of really experienced engineers, you know, most of who I know anyway. So it's kind of a nice sort of gentle lead into leadership, I think, with having such a good team to look after. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I think one of the things that when you've sort of been doing it as long as us is, even if you're not necessarily always been in the leadership role, you've seen it. You know, we've all had managers and bosses and things, and just how leadership styles have changed over the last 30 years.
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's a lot more collaborative and team based now, which it is, I personally think's so much nicer.
Same. I love that. And like you say, even though I've not had a specific leadership role, you've always, you know, you can act as a leader even if you're not in a specific role, can't you? So yeah, just, you know, having the empathy and, you know, treating people as, you know, how we'd all want to be treated, I think is the main thing, isn't it?
Definitely. I had a lunch meeting with a customer last week who's retiring, and I've known him for sort of 35 years. And he was saying just how much things have changed in his sort of 40 years in the industry. Yeah. And just little things like, and we were laughing about it, he said, but just not yelling at somebody when they do something wrong.
That kind of hierarchical, you know, very domineering kind of bullish approach. It's just not the modern way now, is it? You know, none of us want to be spoken to like that. So, you know, why should we?
That's it. I mean, everybody has a moment where they, you know, are an idiot, but overall,
that's just being human, isn't it?
Exactly. But overall, it's just something that is really dying now, and it's great, you know, because I sort of started in the 80s, and it was very prevalent. It really was. You know, I think in all sectors. Yeah. So you mentioned you did your masters at Cranfield University, and later in the year you're returning to Cranfield to start a volunteer role as an industrial advisory board member. So they were obviously really, really pleased with how you performed on your masters.
Yeah, I mean, they're brilliant. They like to involve industry as much as possible with their courses. So, yeah, they asked me last year if I'd like to take them on that role, helping to advise on the manufacturing and materials courses, to make sure that, you know, we're getting the students through with the right skills for our industry. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And we get involved with looking at their group projects and, you know, just seeing their new ideas, really. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
It's a testament, obviously, to your reputation and the experience you've gained over, 30 years in the industry. And it's, I imagine it's going to be really exciting seeing sort of the students coming through, because I think the younger generation, we're sort of pinning our hopes on them a lot, I think, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, 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 and that's,
please don't
that's
mess it up like we did.
Yeah, and I mean, I see it in work as well. You know, we have an entry level talent team of interns, apprentices, and graduates, and you know, the caliber is just unreal, and the, you know, they're so bright and got so much to offer that that's an area I've started to enjoy as well, starting to get more involved with them. So I guess this ties in with that as well. Yeah.
When I was doing my stalking on you to sort of see everything that you were putting up on LinkedIn, I sort of fell down sort of a metallurgy rabbit hole looking at your posts. The aluminium block that was hit by a small piece of plastic going, what was it, 24,000 miles per second or something in space?
Replicated in space. God. Yeah. I mean, I can't claim credit for that. I follow quite a few of the metallurgy sites where they post these, and I just repost them because I'm a complete geek. I love anything like that, and I think quite a lot of other people do as well. And I also definitely try and post as many of the SEM images as I can, because I find that fascinating as well. You know, seeing things at such high magnification that can look so different. So yeah, I complete geek.
You're a metallurgist. You're not a geek. It's you're not a geek at all.
Part of the job.
It is, but it's so fascinating. And one of the things I find here is when a member of the team, when they not long have sort of first started, we always know we've got them for life. When they sort of come in on a Monday morning and go, I was out at the weekend and I went to so-and-so and, I saw our circle finish on the chip shop counter, or I walked past Grand Central and was like, we polished that before it was made into the facade, or I went here or I went there. And they're starting to sort of see, stainless steel in the wild, as it were. Yeah. And we were always like, we've got you for the next 30 years. That's fine. Thank you. but it is, isn't it? It's about, everyone has good days and bad days, and you make mistakes or you do something brilliantly. But it's about having that care and that interest and that passion for it at the centre, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And that comes across really, 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 a lot with everything that I see you posting online.
Yeah, you've got to enjoy what you do, I think. You're a long time at work, aren't you? So, try and find something that you love.
Exactly. And when you're not at work, see what I did there? When you're not at work, I know that we are both retired from a hobby that we both enjoyed. And you're the first person in the metals industry that I've spoken to who used to play roller derby. Yay!
It's quite a brutal sport,
My favourite example of how brutal it was, I've got two, but I'd got some clients coming over for a project I was consulting on, which is in New York, which is the vessel sometimes called the Beehive. And I'd got one of the vice presidents flying in from New York on the red eye and the fabricator coming in from Spain. And I was picking them both up at Birmingham Airport. And I was covered in bruises, and it was a hot summer's day. And I just went, oh, lovely to see you both in real life. Sorry about my arms. I was playing roller derby at the weekend and I bruise easy.
Yeah.
And the American was like, oh, I know about roller derby, you know. and we were explaining it to the guy from Spain, and his face just was like looking more and more horrified.
Yeah. I know a lot of people don't know what you're talking about when you mention it, but yeah, luckily I didn't bruise easily, so that was a bonus for me. But yeah, for those that did, yeah, covered in bruises all of the time.
Fingerprints on your arms,
yeah.
when you were in a wall, and I used to get perfect fingerprints. I'm not very big, and it was when you'd get two sort of bony people who'd like hip check, and you could almost feel the sparks fly.
yeah, it's I had to give it up because I've got a few disc problems in my back, and it's not the sport to do if you've got a dodgy back.
It's really not. I spent most of 2018 at work in plaster and gym clothes. I'd broken my wrist at home, nothing to do with roller derby. I'd slipped over carrying a McDonald's into the house, so fast food is bad for you. And I'd broken my arm, and 2 weeks after I had my cast off, I was teaching some rookies, and I was skating backwards whilst talking to them, and I fell over my own foot and broke my ankle.
Oh no!
Yeah. So yeah, I hold the record for the shortest time in between breaks at the old Birmingham Blitzstone. So yeah,
impressive skills.
I know it's not really a goal I was going for, but no, and I don't really want anyone to sort of like overtake me.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found though, and it'd be interesting to sort of see how your experience is, that I'd never done team sports before. I'd always been a dancer and I'd done some running, but I'd not done team sports, so didn't enjoy it at school. I always managed to disappear and do something else. And coming to a team sport as an adult, I found incredibly rewarding and liberating compared to sort of like, you know, being told to play hockey in December in -2 in a pair of knickers. Why do they make girls at school wear knickers for their sports? Oh, you know, it was horrific, but I loved doing it as an adult. How did you find the experience of sort of doing that?
Well, I played hockey and netball at school, and I absolutely loved hockey. I loved it because it was kind of aggressive, and yeah, I really enjoyed hockey. But yeah, it was so welcoming, and I think it attracts quite a lot of, you know, alternative people and people that are a lot more sort of broad-minded. So, you know, it's open to anybody, and that's what I liked about it. I liked the fact that they were welcoming and inclusive to anyone. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I wasn't very good at it, so I can't claim that I ever made the first team, but yeah, I did enjoy it at the time, and helping out, you know, fundraising and all the rest of it, because, you know, they're grassroots, aren't they? So yeah, I enjoyed the whole time, really.
I agree. I think the inclusivity is one of the things that drew me to it. And I have met people through roller derby that I would never meet in any other walk of life, you know. And I think it makes you a bit of a better person.
Yeah. I mean, that's the case. I mean, I actually... I think she's chief engineer at the MTC actually now, and I met her through roller derby. So yeah, it is a small world, really. But yeah, another metal person, I guess.
Yes, it's I know there's a couple who work on HS2, but I must admit, being the clumsy person I am, I was always rather glad we had a couple of A&E doctors on the team.
Well, that's handy. Yeah, that's definitely useful.
Very handy. And finally, the last question I always ask everyone, Beth, is what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I would say this came from my mum, actually, when I was younger. And I guess it's to know your own value. She always used to say, You'll never be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. And that's kind of, stayed with me really, because I think when you're younger, you want everybody to like you, and that always sort of helped me really think, well, do you know what I mean? Find your tribe, find the people that are your kind of people, because there'll always be people in life that you naturally, move towards, and those that don't. But, find a way to be civil with everybody, but, just accept that not everybody's going to like you. So, yeah, you'll never be everybody's cup of tea.
I like that. Knowing your own value as well. It's always going to give you that. It's almost like confidence, but peace with who you are at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And being able to be yourself, but recognise that, if you're not getting the respect that you think you deserve, then, it's okay to walk away.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Beth, for being on this episode of the podcast. Really do appreciate it. And good luck with your new role and
thank you very much.
Your,
thank you for having me.
Board position when you start later in the year at Cranfield.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Kirsty.